Hi, this is David, the preparedness therapist, and also I'm the originator of the Mammoth Slayers Atlatl League here in Utah. We're going to hold the Utah State Championship coming up in July at Elkhorn Primitive Skills Gathering, Boulder, Utah, uh, and it's world. We're gonna go by the World Atlatl Association rules, but I'm just here to talk about atlatls. These are board atlatls. And so I wanted to go through just a few things with these board atlatls. Now, what I've taken is some hardwood, and I make most of my atlatls from hardwood that I get, whether it's oak or hickory, uh, sometimes poplar, sometimes ash, sometimes walnut. And I just cut it into strips about an inch or so wide, and 7/8, I think, thick is how much the nominal width or thickness of the boards are typically. And I get it from a cabinet shop, leftovers from there. And you can have atlatls in different lengths, of course. I make them anywhere from 16 inches up to, I've made one 40 inches long. Now, let me tell you, the shorter the atlatl, the more accurate you're going to be, but the less force you're going to have because you have less leverage there. So, I sell kits, and so this is kind of explaining that kit, but it's also um, beneficial for anybody who wants to make their own. So you just take a board, and what I do is usually I have a pencil, and I do this with a pencil. Run along the bottom here. I take anywhere from 2/3 to 3/4 down. This is about 2/3, so there's 2/3 up here and 1/3 down there. And I'm going to trim this 2/3 off. And it's, well, let me show you with this one. It's going to come out looking similar to that. Now, let me tell you what I do. Over here, this is going to be the end. And I make an angle, something like this, and I cut down. But with the bandsaw or my handsaw, I kind of soften that corner right there. And then just because I like the looks of it better, I usually trim off that end too. You can kind of see what I'm talking about there. So the final shape of this one is going to be, this is the end. Then over here, I go about 4 or 5 inches in, and I just make a mark going down. And then I make a softer angle going down like this. And so this, and then that's all you really need to do. Again, I like to have my shapes just a little bit different, so I kind of cut up this way as well. Seems to hold better. And so this is the general outline of the atlatl. And when I cut it out, it will look something just like this. Okay? And I drew this on the wrong side here. Actually, it should be going down like that. So this is the general shape. Okay? And then what I do, you can see that I sand in a couple of finger holds right there, or where my fingers grasp, and it holds on. It gives me a little bit better grasp. And I don't have that in this yet. And so what I would do is just take my electric sander, my belt sander, go in something like this. Okay. And frankly, you can throw with something like this. The edges are hard, and so you want to soften them up. You want to sand this down. Sand all the edges down and around. You want to kind of make this a little bit more smooth, just so that if it does get wet, that it won't keep the water in, the moisture there. And then somewhere right around here is where you're going to drill a hole for your dowel, or you can use a branch or anything like that. And you drill a hole in at about this angle. Okay, at about that angle. And you make the diameter of the hole about the same diameter as your dowel, because when you take your dowel, you're going to rough it up a little bit and put it into there after you put a dab of wood glue in. Now I use Titebond 3 because it's waterproof. And after I get that in, after I get this sanded and get that in, then I just make the edges, take off the sharpness around the edges everywhere here. You want to do that not only for the feel and the comfort, but because there's less of a chance of this splintering off if you round the edges off instead of leave them sharp like this. And then you can go ahead and finish this with Watco Danish oil, which is what I use a lot of times, or something like that. So let me, that basically will take you where you want to go. Here's one with the dowel that's already in it, and I cut the dowel off at that angle. And depending on what I use, if I use darts, you throw darts with this. If I use darts that are made of aluminum or carbon fiber, they're going to be a little bit larger than some of the bamboo darts that I make. Bamboo, you can get bamboo stakes usually in packs of 5 at the hardware store for about $6 or $7 for a pack of 5. And bamboo holds up pretty well. I've had both carbon fiber and bamboo darts break on me though, so there's nothing perfect. I also make some wooden darts, and those hold up really well too. And you can just take dowels and then connect them together with a little sleeve in the middle. So, and you can see I just play with designs. I've got little bumps on this, and they're different lengths here. You can use different styles of however you want that to be. Right here, actually, I'm going to drill a hole in this and put something where I slide my thumb and my finger through to hold it so that when I throw this, I'm not going to throw my Atlatl. You're going to hold on to it anyway, the Atlatl, but that's just something that some people do is they have a leather strap or some twine there. And you can see I shaped that dowel just a little bit different. Here's a stick bow that I didn't use a dowel on. I just chipped out an indentation right here and left this left a corner here for the dowel, the dart. And so what you do is you hold the dart between these two fingers. Most people do. That's what I do. And stick the fat end of the dart here, and the skinny end has the point on it. And hold it like this, and it goes over my fingers right here. Hope this is coming out all right. Anyway, that's what I do. This one you can see I didn't even cut the thickness off, and I kind of like the thickness. In fact, ideally you want just a little bit of spring. This doesn't give any spring. This might give a little bit of spring to it so that when you go to flip and the dart actually leaves that Atlatl, the spring of the Atlatl might also help it just a little bit. So that's how you finish these board Atlatls. Let me go on to branch Atlatls.